Oh, this is the fun part. Oh, thank you.
This is Star Wars, Harry Potter.
Oh, yes. Okay, so we need to talk first. It is KJ, and we are at the track. It's at Indianapolis, the month of May. Everything here is about the Indy 500. And, you know, it's a huge fandom, right? Like, it's the greatest spectacle in motor racing, and everyone should come here. And so here we are with one of the greatest nerds in all of IndyCar. Welcome to the Kinda Nerdy Girls podcast, Jack Harvey. Tell your number one fandom. You have to pick one. Like, if you could only have this movie or this TV show for the rest of your life, what are you going with?
Star Wars.
Really?
100%.
Star Wars. Your whole life?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I mean, I think everyone has to realize, right? Like, Star Wars was my first, was like my number one, you know. And I'd watched even when I was younger. I'd watched the originals before, you know, the prequels, I guess. So I was just a massive fan. And following that, I would say it's got to be Harry Potter for me. You know, Harry Potter, I feel like, was just absolutely like my generation of, like, I remember going to the first film, and then we went like another 3 times after that, and, you know, standing in line to get the books. You know, me, my mum, and my sister. You know, like, all my friends, like, even if you weren't really into it, you got into it. And kind of following that, as I got a bit older, I actually started collecting comic books. So then they started doing Iron Man, all these other amazing,
we're going to be best friends,
movies. And then suddenly you know, the hardest time I actually have, the hardest time I have with, it's cool to be a nerd now.
Right. Yes.
I was a nerd when it wasn't cool.
So was I. Like, where was this when I was in high school?
So, like, you know, people Star Wars, you know, people like Marvel, you know, people like, even Harry Potter's like never lost, I feel like, any of its, you know, only that raw atmosphere that came with it, and, you know, the hardcore fans. And I love Fantastic Beasts as well, I'll be honest.
Oh, I do too.
I think they're great. But people jumped on the bandwagon, and, like, Star Wars fans people I know wear Star Wars clothing who aren't even fans.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It irritates me. I'm like, give me that shirt. You don't deserve that shirt.
Oh, and they have the shirts that look like they're retro, and you're like, you bought that at Target.
You know, exactly. I'm just so. I mean, it irritates me a bit more than it probably should, because I'm like, you don't deserve that shirt you're wearing.
Right. Like, you were making fun of me. You know.
I knew I'd read the Infinity Gauntlet before Infinity War came, like way before it came out, before like most of the movies come out. So then I'm like, well, this is pretty cool where they're taking it, and what about this? And I said it to a friend of mine, and they was like, what are you even on about? And then after Infinity War, I was like, oh, that was amazing, and doing all these other things. Like, listen, dude, you're like 2 years at least behind me, like, if not more, maybe in knowledge. So you better research up now and then come at me with something.
So have you seen Endgame?
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it 3 times in the movies already.
Nice.
Well, so kind of encompassing with, like, I just love going to the movies. Like, it's like my private time. Turn my phone off, and if something comes out, I'll go watch. And if I really like it, I'll go watch it twice, because I feel like you miss things the first time, and especially when Endgame's so long.
Right.
So much going on. It's hard to take it all in. But I went to watch Captain Marvel twice. I watched Black Panther like 3 times. I mean, like, I don't know if I'd be able to, like, rank them in, like, best to worst.
What if I told you had to? What's the worst Marvel movie?
I don't know if you're pointing at Thor like it's the best or the worst. I feel like if it's not one of the best, then I'm gonna be really sad.
You know what? I didn't mind the Thor movies, and honestly, I think there are a lot of people that got mad.
It's negative the way you said.
No, I like Thor, and I'm hoping that these rumors that he is going to continue on and be in the Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie. Right. That would be awesome. I do not. I will tell you, part of the reason that our podcast is called The Kinda Nerdy Girls is because we work very hard to not hate on our fandoms. Like, let's just enjoy this.
Sure.
Maybe that's not how I would write the story, but I didn't get paid to write the story.
Sometimes a spade is just a spade.
Yes.
You just have to go with it and enjoy the story. And it's always, I guess it's I would say the one that I say least enjoyed, but I feel like also hasn't, it was probably the wrong time, was probably The Incredible Hulk.
Oh gosh, yeah. I tell people, when they ask me.
You kind of forget about it. You know, like honestly, if I think about the Hulk, and like the first time you like really get to see the Hulk, has got to be what, the first Avengers movie.
Oh, absolutely. That was when it was like, okay, I think you got it right.
Yeah, like when Bruce was like finally there and you get to see him, you know, and like they changed actors, and it was like I almost want them to go and remake it now with Mark Ruffalo so that we can see it again. Because I feel like people have really ramped up. Because I remember when the first Iron Man came out, and it definitely, I feel like that was the start. That was like the big boom, it's here. Hulk didn't have any.
No, it didn't have that. As a matter of fact, I will, especially when we were leading up to Endgame, those people that you hate that are jumping on the bandwagon would send me a message and say, hey, I want to get into this. How do I watch them? And I literally send them the order that they should watch them in and say, don't worry about the Hulk movie. Don't even watch it. There's like...
I like to watch it because it's just like tidbits and there's like things in there, but it was really hard like story to get behind, and I actually, and I like it, but I feel like the others are so good. Yes,
for sure.
And another one that's controversial because I think he's cool in when it's not his movie, but I've struggled with Ant-Man a bit.
I like Ant-Man,
and I loved it in, again when he was in Civil War and in Endgame. I think he plays it really, really well. But as like, I don't know, I preferred Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I did too.
But like the first, I don't know.
Well, I think you're right. I think that he plays better in that in that support role. Yeah.
He's a very team player.
Yes. Although he had a bigger role in Endgame than I was expecting. I was like, way to go, Ant-Man.
I feel like we can all agree that the rat is the real MVP of Endgame. Whoever that rat was that like hits his button to bring him back, that's the MVP.
That was awesome. Okay, we need to talk about Harry Potter because it was interesting. You said, interesting that you mentioned that that's sort of a fandom that just continues on. Yeah. We have tomorrow night. We are actually having a Harry Potter party here in town, and it's to grant a wish. A little girl named Isabel, who she just got her port out, finished 11 rounds of chemo, and she wants to go to London to the Harry Potter studios. So we are working on raising money by house. We have this anonymous donor who's going to throw $500 to the house that raises $500 first. So I would assume with as much as you love it that you have been sorted.
Oh, I'm a Ravenclaw. I've done the Pottermore quiz like maybe 20 times.
You just keep double checking?
Yeah, and I would say 16, 17 times I'm a Ravenclaw. Every now and again I get sorted into Hufflepuff.
Okay. Yep, I'm a Gryffindor through and through. But I always get that close, like when you take the BuzzFeed quizzes, I get really close to Hufflepuff.
Yeah, I always feel like Gryffindors, when they say it as a bit snobby. They're just like, I'm a Gryffindor.
I'll be honest,
they leave it there.
I didn't want to be a Gryffindor. I wanted to be a Hufflepuff. My husband's a Hufflepuff. And we were taking the quiz, and I was like, oh, crap, I'm one of those jerky Gryffindors.
So, I'm pretty sure, so my mum says she was in Ravenclaw, but honestly, if you meet her, like, if she's not in Hufflepuff, then somewhere along the line it's gone wrong. My sister's in Ravenclaw, my dad is a Gryffindor. He didn't actually want to do the quizzes, but we made him just because we were watching it. But like, I also think about Harry Potter, and I think about Christmas, because it's pretty much every year at Christmas time we pretty much binge watch the movies. And like when we go to like trivia nights, we go and try and do like the book trivia, not just like the movie trivia.
Right.
And real fans have read the books, where kind of fans have watched the movies.
He has only watched the movies.
I've got them on my phone. Like, I've actually just finished rereading them all again. And do you know that story that you know what's coming?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, I read them over and over, watch the movies over and over.
Just like totally timeless.
Yeah. Well, and the big thing, I always say, the least favorite.
I'll tell you mine. Chamber of Secrets.
Chamber of Secrets I wouldn't put it up as one of my favorites. I didn't love the Order of the Phoenix reading it. I don't know why. I felt like it was a little longer than it needed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty long. That's fair.
Yeah. And I mean, the one thing that I would say if you're just the movie watcher and you haven't read the books is, man, they did not do Ginny Weasley justice in the movies.
Actually, it's totally funny they say that. I agree with that. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Like Ginny, I would say she played a much more significant role in the books.
Yeah, she's a badass in the books.
She is. She like totally is. And you know, if anything, I think they then make Neville. He was a total badass in the books, but in the movies they make him even more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so some people are kind of getting blown up a little bit, and some people weren't getting what they need. But I think it's cool if you've read The Cursed Child and whatnot, that you see that Ginny's still a badass, still, you know, pushes Harry in the right direction, and you know that say it's not a cliche, it's a true. But you know, behind every great guy is a great woman. You know, she is Harry's extra. You know, and I think it's just kind of cool. But I agree with that. I'd say the film that I think didn't do the book the most justice was The Goblet of Fire.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they got into The Goblet of Fire, they rushed a bit, they skipped a bit, and you're like, I mean, you just missed like a few really big things. And I kind of came out, and that was the one where I was like, wow, what a great movie. I mean, if you didn't get like even a lump in your throat after what happened to like Diggory, I mean, that you just ain't got a heart.
But Cedric.
That was when I left like, they missed a lot out of the book there.
Yeah, that was the one that my younger sister and she introduced me to the book. She was right at the age when the first book came out. She was like, "You got to read this, big sister," and that was the one movie that we went to where she kept nudging me, and it's like, "That's not right. That's not how I know."
Me, that was me and my sister in the movie. We were like, "That's not right," and she'd be like, "I know," and I think the one that I felt like was the closest, honestly, was the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know why we did that. I don't know
either. But I thought that was like the one where you look at Hogwarts at the time and you're like, it's what you imagined. Yeah. Old castle, robes, the hat, you know, like the classrooms the way they are. And suddenly throughout the films, like, it gets a little modern. And I was always a bit disappointed with that, because I mean, the first time you see, you know, Hogwarts as a castle in the actual Philosopher's Stone, you're like, I want to go. Yeah. And they never lose that, but like somehow I don't know if the set changed, but the style was changed, and you know, the casual modernness came to it. Oh, yeah. And I prefer the first, probably up to like the Prisoner of Azkaban, that style of them. They feel a bit older, you know, a bit more magical, a bit more, I hate to say it, but like pure, like raw pure.
Yeah.
Where then they took like a slightly darker side, which was fine because I think the books did too. But I think they lost a little bit of that magical buzz. And the thing I think is cool about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is I feel like they are able to like backpedal that, because that was just when it was set. You know, like the time period was before, and it was just cool because they kind of forced into doing that. Yep. And it's just, I thought it was sweet.
Yeah, I loved it. Have you heard anything? I mean, I should be up to this, but I know initially when they announced Fantastic Beasts that they were planning, like Harry Potter, 7 movies.
I think it's 5.
Is it 5? Okay, are they still planning that?
I think number 3 comes out in 2021.
Okay.
A while away.
Oh, that's a while away. But you know what? That might be good, because this is my second Harry Potter wish that I've worked on with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the first girl that we sent, she happened to be there when they were filming Fantastic Beasts 2, so she got to see it.
That's cool. Very sweet.
So if we could send Isabel, like right away, she might get there when they're filming the 3rd one.
That would be awesome.
All right, well, just so you know, right now, Ravenclaw's in 2nd place in raising money. So Gryffindor, I don't mean to be a jerk.
Shock.
I don't need to be a jerk, but 10 points for Gryffindor because we are in the lead in raising money.
Well, that's a shock. I told you earlier, snobby, sounder, arrogant.
Here we go. I mean, I have a little bit to be arrogant about right now. Not gonna lie. All right. Speaking of arrogant, how do you feel about the Indy 500?
I mean, I think this is the place where arrogance bites you hard. So, I think you're always trying to balance the, being humble and, trying to be respectful of, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. In the same breath, you're trying to get after it and not be intimidated by everything. So,
does the Indianapolis Motor Speedway feel kind of magical to you? It was a faraway place that you get to travel to the America.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I feel I use Indy as an example that, this feels like a racing driver's Neverland. This is where you come to not grow old.
Yes.
Just hoping to stay this age forever.
I can't promise you that the month of May is not going to age you a little bit.
I feel like the last two have. I mean, honestly, we're excited to be here. We're going to do the Grand Prix this year, which is what we didn't get to do last year. Our whole program's expanding. There's a lot of things to look forward to. But, I can say to everybody, we are extremely grateful to be on the grid. That's not the goal. The goal is to be out there competing, more frequently and getting to the point where, we can consistently finish in the top 10, where we can battle for podiums, and if, we hope it happens this year, win the Indy 500, so we always stay extremely grateful for what we have, but we're not just here to be one of the 33. We obviously want to make the race firstly, but, we want to be one of the people coming here and achieving something, so, we're excited for the month. We hope it's a good one, and we're going to do whatever we can to make sure we get that.
Do you have any of your fandoms with you in the car? Anything Star Wars or Harry Potter or anything like that?
My heart.
Only in your heart. Come on. Colton wears his dog's picture on his socks.
Well, Colton also did a weird dance after he won in COTA, so I mean, he's a goofball. He's hysterical, though. I love that kid.
All right. Well, best of luck to you, the Indy 500. Thanks for talking nerdy with us.
Sweet. Thank you.